Hello, StarCraft fans, and welcome back to the DreamHack Open Moscow 2014. And a moment of mourning as we have just seen the great foreign hope fall to a Korean. And it's certainly not the first time we've seen that in our lives. Snoot losing to MMA. I am surprised, and maybe I shouldn't be, Sean.
No, I think you should be surprised. The way that the games ended, more so than the result, I think. The way that the games played out is a shock to many, especially game one. I think that, Snoot had it in the bag, played greedy, definitely could have done a lot of different things to avoid that loss. And then game two, I mean, you look at it and you think that Snoot played very, very well, but a simple move like a 2 barracks was good enough to beat him today.
They've said in the past that Snoot has this weakness to this particular strategy. That seems to have been bore out over time. I mean, I'll open it to both of you guys. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, actually very recently when Snoot beat MMA at Gfinity, his next match was against his teammate Bunny. And Bunny, he used some 2 racks already to try and exploit that weakness that Snoot has against it. And he ended up winning and knocking him out, not knocking him out of the tournament before going on and winning it. So I saw some people on Twitter as well mentioning it, just like that. I think it was Daishi mentioning basically the fact that Snoot has a weakness and apparently MMA has found it and abused it here. So yeah, he seems to struggle a little bit against 2 racks, and I feel like it's one of those things, much like the cannon rush actually of Protoss. It's very hard to practice against, unless you tell yourself like, you know what, I'm only gonna practice against this for like 15 games in a row, which is basically like torture. It's very hard to get some good practice against this because you only play against it once in a while, and there are so many different versions, like positioning on the buildings, whether it's the cannon rush or the 2 racks, timings that it's going to come at, even though it's always going to be pretty early. You don't know how many SCVs are going to come. I think you'd agree, Moonglade.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very hard to practice against, and I mean, it can do different levels of damage, which is still going to put the Terran ahead if they react properly, if they pull the SCVs back, and if they transition properly as well. So, I mean, like, example is Maru. He's always using it in Pro League on specifically merry-go-round, and he doesn't do it to kill. He will kill you if he sees the chance to kill, but normally it'll finally get fended back when the spine crawlers come up, when enough drones and zerglings have perished to push the bunkers back, and then he'll just be like, okay, I'll take my natural now and we'll play a macro game, but I have an advantage.
It sounds really bad the way you say it, by the way. He doesn't do it to kill. Like, he wants to injure you and like play with
his food.
It can kill or it can injure you. That's
it.
how strong this build is. It can kill or it can injure, and it's going to be up to the Terran to decide how far they want to go with it and how much damage they think they can do with it. And I mean, Snoot was still in a great position in the first game, despite taking economic damage. He bounced back from it, but he was still in recovery mode when MMA did his timing. And Snoot got completely caught off guard by it. Like, if he didn't drone as hard as he did on and go for that 4th base, if he just made like another 10 banelings with his zerglings, he could have crushed that. And even though he was down with upgrades, it's still very hard to defend against, but it would have been a lot closer. So
how good was MMA? We're talking about Snoot and his kind of failings. I mean, again, I don't want to rehash my old lines, but again, it kind of felt like Snoot threw that one away. Like, it was more of a Snoot loss than it was an MMA victory in a way.
Yeah, definitely more so, but I do like MMA's just clean decision-making. As soon as first game went in the way it did, he slapped down the double engineering bait and already knew exactly what he was going to do from a very early part in the game. He knew the way that Snoot likes to play. He made that decision based on that, and he nailed it. He executed it. And the same comes to going into game number 2. What am I going to do against Snoot in this game? I'm going to do it again. I feel strong. I feel this is the way to beat him. And he, stuck to his guns, and I really commend him for that style.
Okay, well, let's talk about the next semi-final. jjakji versus True, an all-Korean affair. jjakji's kind of been a bit up and down, but, looking in good form this tournament. True, though, imperious, hasn't dropped a single game.
I love that word, imperious.
I know, I've got a thesaurus out back. I just keep consulting
I need to read one, man, because that is definitely the definition of how well he is playing. He hasn't dropped a single map, which is crazy enough, but True has always been such a great player, and I was very, very sad and surprised that he was leaving Casper to join this foreign team. But I'm so glad that he still maintained his form that he forged in Casper, like from that team, from Jin Air, and he's playing so well this tournament. And I'm very, very excited to see how he's going to play against jjakji, and I think he's going to do very well.
Well, I think there's this weird kind of feeling that there's, you know, True's going to just skate to victory here and maybe win the whole tournament, perhaps without dropping a game. You know, I don't know if that's how good he actually is, but is there such a gulf in class between him and jjakji?
Most people seem to think so, but somehow jjakji hasn't particularly shown that he's scared or anything. Like, after this match finished between Snoot and MMA, he just tweeted, "My turn!" exclamation mark. Like, it sounds like he's eager to just get in there and play some games. So I don't know if he's happy to have gone this far in the tournament already, to have scored some more points for BlizzCon and qualified for DreamHack Winter, or if he actually thinks he's just going to take it, as he said before. It's going to be cool to follow all that.
And jjakji's got his own demons to defeat because, of course, hasn't been to a final since 2011, which we touched upon earlier. November 2011 was the last time.
Yeah, coming up 3 years since the last top 2 finish is a very, very long time and something that he'll definitely be thinking about. But he's in great shape right now. He's playing very, very well. He played True at the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen just a couple of months back and beat him 2-0, and it actually looked very convincing for him. True doesn't have the best record versus Terran in recent times either, despite his capability to be one of the best Zergs in the world. He does struggle too. jjakji's got a lot of confidence. There's going to be a bit of stress relief because he's made it to the top 4, got those points, is looking pretty much at a guaranteed BlizzCon spot now. So I think that jjakji's just going to be over the moon with the position he's got. He's going to be feeling confident because he's beat him before, and he's just going to go for it.
So let's talk a little bit stylistically about how we think this game's going to go. Is it going to be another thriller in Manila, or is it going to be something perhaps a little bit more by the numbers?
I think this will be more of a thriller than the game we saw, the series we saw, because I'm not expecting 2 games to be 2 barracks. I think in a confident manner, with jjakji's in, he'll play a normal game. I don't expect to see double barracks unless there's going to be some weird mind games going on. The way that he's approaching the series is like, I can beat this guy, so I don't need to try anything that could risk my tournament life here. And I feel that True, stylistically, is a player who would like to play that long as well. So I think we're in for a bit of a better series.
Do you echo those sentiments, Todd?
Yeah, I agree that jjakji is much like MMA, a guy that likes to macro up, to play fairly standard. But now we saw another face of MMA against a Snoot with whom he's familiar with, and he tried to hard counter him. In this match, again, yeah, I have to agree with Apollo. I don't think we're gonna see we're gonna be seeing something too. There could be a 2 racks, but it'd be only in one of the 3 maps, just to say, hey, I threw 2 racks in there to try and break you, and
like I'm not super appropriate, given that we were doing a Moscow event. So.
I'm not too familiar with True. I think Moonglade probably can tell us better about what his ZVT is like.
Yeah, he's got a kind of, I guess, the standard sort of very, very powerhouse macro Korean style that you see in Casper very, very often. And I definitely think we're going to see a very exciting games, but they're going to go a lot longer. And we're going to see True take it to the late game. He's very, very comfortable there as well. He's very, very strong against Terran. He's more strong against Protoss. It's kind of like his signature matchup, but he's definitely a Zerg to be reckoned with in this matchup as well. And it's going to be up to jjakji whether he's going to go for that super aggressive style like we saw MMA do. I think we could see a proxy racks, and I think it could be on merry-go-round perhaps. But at the same time, True opens up very differently to Snoot. He will go for a more of a hatch-first sort of style. He will scout with a drone, and he will look for that kind of thing. So very different reactions and styles compared to Snoot.
Is True a standard Zergling, Baneling, Muta player with like just a few Mutas and lots of Banelings on the ground?
Yeah, he's very, very that kind of style. But in today's meta, you kind of got to get away from that style pretty quickly as well, because it doesn't sit well in the late game these days.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like...
The Thor change.
The Thor change, the Hellbat change. I mean, everything together makes it a lot harder now.
I've seen some recent games where Terrans
are
maxed out, they attack against 80 Banelings and the army disappear in 1 second, so I don't know.
It can still work, but it's harder. Let's say that.
Okay, well, we'll find out a little bit more about how they're feeling. We're going to go now to Smix, who's got both players ahead of the semi-final for an interview. Take it away, Smix.
Thank you very much, Richard Lewis. It is time, guys, to introduce our last 2 semifinalists of the day. Our first player is someone who is looking to reach the grand finals for the first time since 2011, jjakji.
Anything.
Our Our second player is someone who has not dropped a single game on his way to the semifinals. We'll see if he can keep that streak going. Please welcome True. Jjakji, I've interviewed you so many times coming up to these semifinals. You've said multiple times that now you just want to have fun, you just want to enjoy the games, but you're one step away from the grand finals. I have a feeling it's not just about having fun anymore.
Yeah, now I have to win tournament. I want to take trophy.
Now, True, I interviewed jjakji earlier, and when I asked him how he felt about the fact that he had to face you in the semifinals, he said that he feels he's already in the grand finals. What do you have to say about that?
아까 전에 그 짝지 선수 인터뷰했을 때 이제 트루 선수 만난다고 했는데 이제 저는 결승전에 벌써 갔어요. 이렇게 대답했어요. 그래서 짝지 선수한테 한마디만 해주세요.
저는 그 제가 아끼고 제가 정말 좋아하는 해피 선수를 저 선수가 이겨가지고 제가 반드시 복수하겠습니다.
You guys are gonna love this. He says, jjakji beat this player who I really adore and hold dear to my heart, Happy. So I promise to get revenge on Happy's behalf. Let's get this semifinal match underway. Gentlemen, shake hands. Richard, back to you.
So there we are, guys. I tell you what, True knows how to play to the crowd there, doesn't he? Brilliant work from him.
I'm not sure if he was telling the truth or not.
Well, you know a thing or two about that. You predicted Happy to win, so you're just
being honest.
in my book, right?
I was honest. I believed in him.
I got to say, I thought it was interesting to see Jjakji's comments there about how he's changed his priorities and feels he has to win the tournament now, and that he's already in the grand final, apparently, which, for me...
Interesting.
Well,
yeah.
You can see why he's on an organisation called My Insanity.
Well done, Richard. Well done.
I've got all the zingers. But seriously, that's a real bold statement from him.
Well, I mean, it is True, and True hasn't lost a match, and he's on fire, and he comes from Casper, very, very fresh out of Casper. He is definitely a powerhouse here, and I'm not too surprised he would say that, but MMA still could beat either of these guys, so still a little bit misdirected.
Playing good StarCraft does not always come down to who practices the most, and I think a lot of players have come to realize that. That's why we get a lot of those confessions, from players in their interviews, with Snoot basically saying he's trying not to think as much as possible about BlizzCon, so that he's gonna detach himself emotionally from the result and how he's gonna play directly. And the same could be said probably about jjakji, who hasn't had the best performances. He was in a slump himself, so maybe he tried to make a change there in terms of mindset, and it's really showing because he's been playing really well. And compared to a True who pretends he's good friends with Happy and he was having a pint with him last night, I have my doubts.
I can just picture that. A pint of vodka each. So you've said, Sean, though, that you fancy True's gonna, do this and not even drop a game here. So
I have a feeling, yeah. I'm with Moonglade here, to be honest. I mean, if we're going to take jjakji's words for what they are, and he's feeling so confident, he has to be so very careful right now if that's the way he's going to enter this series, because Moonglade said it. True doesn't have the biggest results in the world. He hasn't won all these tournaments like a lot of these other players has. He hasn't won a GSL like jjakji has, but he has the potential to do that. He's undefeated. He's undefeated in this tournament. It may not be the most stacked tournament that we've ever seen at DreamHack, but going undefeated, just a single map loss, hasn't done that yet. That's incredible. It's really, really good to do that in a tournament. He has the potential to do that, Tasia. I don't know if he can do it, but he has it.
So what does a confident jjakji bring to the table? Like, when he says he wants to have fun, that he's confident, that he's already in the grand finals. What does that mean strategy-wise? Is he going to pull something ridiculous out of the bag that's going to be hard to read?
Not really sure about strategical, but usually when you're very confident, I think you guys can back that up, you just don't really make mistakes as much, because when you're confident, and when you're not confident, mistakes creep in when they shouldn't ever be happening.
Yeah, well, if you're confident and you're playing for fun, you're probably going to play a much better game because you're going to be more relaxed. You won't be stressed out as much, and you won't get tilted as easily. So it's a great mindset to always have. I think it's probably the mindset most people should try and have for tournaments.
I think in terms of prep also, like, there is content out there from both players for the opponent to study from, but what do you really learn? Like, as you said, True is that like standard Zerg player that likes to go into Zergling, Bane, Muta. And on the other hand, we have jjakji who likes to play fairly standard, expand, make a lot of bioforces, rally across the map and attack. I mean, if you study that, I don't think you can find a hard counter to a build exactly, because, I mean, both of them can mix it up as far as openers go, even though they probably have some personal preferences. So, I mean, going to this match, both of them, they probably know how it's going to go down. It's probably going to go down, as we said, with some longer games than what we just saw with Snoot against MMA. And they probably have accepted that, agreed to it, gentleman's agreement, you know, non-spoken agreements, where they're just going to want to look to go into the mid to late game and just try to outdo their opponent with 4 jjakji, some drops, some big attacks here and there, and for True, just good defense, good bailing connections, and all that, good crease spread.
I think it would be nice to see some longer games in the tournament, actually, because we've seen so many series end abruptly. So I'm guessing that's what you expect to see as well, Sean, here, a much longer game.
I mean, the funny thing is StarCraft 2's moved away from the super big maps than we used to have a few seasons ago. They've actually come down a little bit in size. The nature of the metagame currently is very aggressive as well. Always mid-game type of attacks. You've got Terran versus Terran, which used to be the longest matchup, is now one of the fastest. Zerg versus Zerg can end fast. Protoss versus Protoss can end fast. This matchup typically is one of the longer matchups because we do and see very often these long type of games because it's more harder to kill your opponent with all-ins because they're spotted so easily, they can be stopped so easily, so not many people use them as much. And this series, I could even go as far to say this could be the longest series we've seen this far, this tournament.
I agree to that. I agree completely. And one of the longest and one of the most exciting because TVZ is, in my opinion, the best matchup of StarCraft 2. It's the most exciting and so much action all throughout the game in different variations. And yeah, I think this could go to distance as well. It could go for 3 games, and it could be 3 beautiful macro games. And
I'm sure MMA is going to be watching. Who do you think he wants to play in the final?
Well, he answered that before.
I didn't hear it.
He wants the Zerg. Just because of the way that Terran versus Terran is so aggressive and can be so random a little bit, because the games are so short, he'd prefer to play the longer matchup and just try to win it with skill more so than the attacks early.
You probably also saw the stats of jjakji and was like, well, probably don't want to play this guy. You know? When a Terran player is on fire in TVT usually, and he goes deep in a tournament like this, I don't think we've ever seen like an upset where like the guy loses. Like when Bomber was on fire in TVT and met some Terrans in tournament, even Teja, he beat him.
That's true.
True though, one thing we haven't mentioned, he's not one guy who came into this tournament with no WCS points. He was very low in the ranking, like 50 or something.
51 I think it was.
He was overlooked a lot. He hasn't lost a map yet. He's already secured at least 375 points or something like that. He's in 25th position. He's climbing up and up. And I think if he wins the tournament here, he gets maybe 20th.
Right?
Yeah, 20th. He gets very, very close to that top 16. Wow. And surely if you can win this tournament, you can do very well in Stockholm and possibly qualify. Yeah. I feel like there has to be at least one guy who's going to qualify for BlizzCon. Or maybe he'll end up 17th and then it'll be the biggest drama of the year. But either way, I feel like there has to be one guy who's going to get close.
We're about to jump into the game.
Okay.
Predictions. I want to pin you all down for some predictions. I'm probably going to just go with the crowd like a sheep and say True's going to do this 2-0. Why not?
2-0 for me as well. True's got what it takes to not drop a map.
Everybody's going to predict True. And I love jjakji, so I'm going to say jjakji is going to win. And 2-0.
Okay.
God damn it.
You were going to do that?
I think jjakji's going to win.
You finally learned.
So I think True's going to win. I think jjakji's got this.
Okay, interesting. Well, you guys are going to be casting. I know you're looking forward to this game. So the semi-final that is coming up is going to be jjakji versus True. It is powered by our sponsors, EIZO, HyperX, Razer, Monster, and Need for Seat. So don't go anywhere.
Nobody went anywhere, Richard. It's fine. Everyone's here. The game's beginning. No one turned the monitor off.
We can't hear you.
No one switched channel. I don't think there was enough time to do anything there because we are in. Game 1 is upon us. Up here to the top right-hand side, playing for My Insanity, a World Championship Series Europe player. It is jjakji, who, unfortunately for him, was eliminated in Season 3. So this tournament and Stockholm are very important, or were very important, for him to qualify towards BlizzCon. But right now, goals on the final. He thinks he can get there. He's confident. He believes in himself. We'll see. Down to the bottom left-hand side, playing for Dead Pixels is the blue Zerg player. It is, of course, True. Formerly of Jin Green Wings, is a fantastic, or had fantastic results in Pro League. Sad to see him not competing that anymore, but maybe he's going to compete a lot more internationally.
It's crazy to think that this player was so overlooked. Like, nobody really mentioned him as one of those guys that was in even in the run for more WCS points. And he finds himself in a situation where now he's just powering through the competition. He hasn't lost a map yet. If he wins the tournament, he gets in that 20th position in the WCS World Rankings and could very well qualify for BlizzCon if he chooses to attend Stockholm, which it will be...
I think he might.
It would be foolish not to. I mean,
I think he might, Todd.
Like, honestly, if he gets this close and then he's like, nah, you know what, I'm not feeling like it.
I'm 20th in the ranking. You know,
I'm content with that.
I don't want
Next
to
year,
travel to Sweden.
Yeah, jjakji opening with actually the CC first here. Going to be playing it. Can you actually call that greedy? I guess not. You know, there's really not much you lose to.
Not anymore, no. I mean, you used to be able to lose the early spawning pools, especially because, I remember, when everyone did Command Center first, you had to put it in the ramp, otherwise you lost the early spawning pool builds, but...
Especially if you play Soppy or something.
Yeah. Do you reckon...
My name is the Muslim.
Do you think throughout... I mean, can builds be determined greedy or non-greedy based on the metagame? Is that a real thing? Can we actually say that? Right now,
you're the top caster in StarCraft 2. You can do whatever you want, Apollo.
Hey, you're the best now, man. You're coming for my job. You're right here. You're gonna take my position soon. You think we can do that? Richard.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I mean, in the current metagame, this build isn't greedy. I guess makes sense.
Yeah. We said it.
We learned that. We just made that up.
I'm sorry if you disagree, but we know better.
It's true.
There's like these few programmers out there that are like, oh god, these guys.
I'm not sure if these guys are serious or not. Oh my god, True's building 10 lings. He went for this very early Zergling speed. I wasn't sure if he's going to use it aggressively, but 10 lings is not the norm here.
Yeah, you know, this is a very wide expansion here that you take on this map. I don't think, surely. He doesn't know. Oh yeah, he knows that there is no second depot up the ramp, so maybe he might try to get in there. The thing is jjakji's wall at the natural, or actually down the ramp?
But
it's not going to be up on time.
No, it's not going to be up on time. But if Hellions get into this game, things are going to landslide here. But
yeah, but there is no wall.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a little bit interesting. True could actually. Oh my god, is he going for the world record of fastest way to get into a final? Because with his previous series of 13 minutes for 2 maps, and he walks up here with a bunch of Zerglings, there's a lot more on the way.
Oh, it's revealed before speed finishes. jjakji is still not walling off. He's underestimating this. He's not reading into it. Oh, he's going to go for the wall. He gets it, but the depot is going to get cancelled, I think.
Yeah, only a single Hellion on the way here, and with Zergling speed, it's going to get surrounded very, very easily here. It's going to be almost impossible to be able to control one single Hellion to stop all these Lings. And they're in the main base. Another wall is trying to be created here. SCVs will fall here. But how much damage will jjakji take?
True is not content with just not losing a map. He also wants to get to the final straight away and probably give a good scare to MMA as well.
Yeah, 2 Marines do pop out, though. They are going to assist maybe this wall in staying alive here. A Hellion's on the right side of it, and it does look like True backs off and will go to the natural. He did decide to drone after this, after killing 5 SCVs, and does take a slight economy advantage here. 34 to 23. I think that's a little bit more than slight as he goes down to take his third as well. An aggressive start here by True, and a successful aggressive start.
You know, I guess if there was a wall-off, I mean, it'd definitely be better for jjakji, but even then, he wouldn't have been able to swap the factory for the barracks because the links were there earlier. And if you lift up those buildings, then the Zerglings can get in. So, interesting build and timing out of True, who behind this, he's just going to drone up like a madman, knowing he's safe for now. He already has speed. He still has some Zerglings out on the map too, like 11. Creep spread was not being denied in the meantime, but True wasn't working too hard on it at the same time as well.
Well, Hellions see this third. Stim on the way now for jjakji. Third command center finishing up. jjakji,
Double eBay.
Yeah, double eBay. But Baneling Nest coming in here. Baneling Nest coming in.
That's defensive, right?
Yeah, it has to be here. You're not... Well, he's seen the third command center. Unless he really wants to get us around on the Hellions if they are too aggressive here, and then he can flick out and be aggressive. This shouldn't really work against Hellions.
Especially if there's a wall, like jjakji is restarted working on his wall, the thing is going to take quite some time to actually complete that wall here.
6 wings in total. He's up to about 15. This is considered standard at this point against the Hellions, but 18 additional ones, not so much.
Yeah.
He's going to try this. He's going to try and break this down. The Hellions are so important to keep alive here. If they get surrounded, the game can end because there will not be enough defense back at home.
I like that True, by the way, killed those debris over there around his natural. And so use that path to go around right now. I think he wants to go for the surround on those Hellions, but he's there enough Zerglings. There is actually quite a few Hellions.
Yeah, that is a lot of Lings right now. You should be panicking if you're jjakji. He's got 2 bunkers on the way down on his natural base here, and the Hellions are going to be good to fight against this if he can keep them alive. 2 are going to get surrounded here. Nope, then he's going to go for the 4. And so far, so good here for jjakji. And one of them goes down. He's running away from these.
jjakji surely should know this is a Baneling bust right now. He needs to get more and more brokers. He has 1 on the way. He's getting a tank on the high ground. If he can siege that, especially in that corner over there, who looked pretty baller, but I mean, definitely going to help in possibly holding this. Oh my god, True is committing so much. 24 more Zerglings on the way. 23 Banelings morphing.
The Hellions, gee, you don't meant to walk that. They just died instantly. Now the Lings are going to fall back here, and the Banelings will break through here. The tank sieges up. But is it going to get a good hit on the Banelings? No, it doesn't. Doesn't protect the bunker at all, and the Banelings get into this natural here. SCVs run for their lives. Tank does a bit of damage there. And the Lings are going to stop being made now. Drones and a lair. But once again, True doing damage. And jjakji's hurting. He's down so much in supply at this point. So aggressive here, True.
Stain pack just completed. One's going to complete as well. Whereas we only have Evos being made now for True. So I guess this didn't do as much as he would have liked, most likely. I mean, didn't really kill any more walkers here. jjakji's going to hold on. But now he was forced in a situation where he had to make... at least 1 tank. He's getting 1 more, not knowing if there's going to be a follow-up or not, but at least he didn't take any more economic damage. Like in terms of walkers, it's 50 SCVs to 65 drones. Like, how do you like this for True?
Not that well. I mean, not that much, really. I mean, it's decent. He's done a bit of damage. He started off. It hasn't hurt him drastically, and he does have still a good ability to be in this game, but the upgrade disadvantage that he has, I think, is going to play a big part in this game. 1-1's already done. Armory's done. 2-2 can start soon, and 1-1 only just starting here.
Do you like the quick numerized carapace here upon being on layer tech? I guess for these overseers to be faster.
Yeah, this standard, just for the overseers and Widowmine play.
2-2 starts now for jjakji as 1-1 started about 45 seconds ago for True. So if he can complete that and then start on fighting from there, it'll be a pretty nice advantage to have. The Spire's going to start here as well. And jjakji already is establishing a third rate. How is he so far behind in supply? Man, those Kespa Zergs, or not Kespa Zerg anymore, but used to be a Kespa Zerg, I guess, for a long time. Those top Korean Zergs.
Baneling speed, I mean, this is obviously crucial. A massive upgrade here that he hasn't decided to upgrade yet.
Surely he forgot it, because it's a must. Good crisp fight, by the way. Like, it started off a little bit slow. I guess there was a lot of action as well. Usually when you see a lot of action and fighting, the crisp fight is not going to be nearly as good, but it's really picked up here for True. And on this map, it's very important. If you can reach the middle, you have so much vision. It's very hard for Terran to attack into you. Already having quite a bit more supply too for True. He has that going for him. jjakji's playing pretty scared. He's making a bunch. Look at that wall. He's making the great wall of Foxtrot here.
Yeah, I mean, he sees that the Zerglings are 0-0, and he has 2-2 on the way. So he knows that eventually, once he builds up towards that 2-2, he's going to have great opportunities and good fights. It's just, can he really get there? And he doesn't want to run the risk of not getting there.
He made a single turret in that wall, actually. No turrets in his mineral lines. Does he really not know there are mutas on the way?
Well, it's a greedy Terran player without the turrets here, and they would do a lot of damage, obviously. Maybe he'll add them in soon. Yeah, just add them in now.
Already another factory being made. He's going to add them at least just 1 for now, you know. When Port plays versus Zerg, he likes to add 2 more very quickly to mix in some more factory units, be it Thors or Elbats or Widowmines. Those units need to be careful. Oh, does he pick up? Okay, yeah. Picks up on time here. Daishi tweeted, my boy is going to make it. The bromance is real, man.
Bromance is real.
jjakji read that. He's probably found extra motivation.
Oh, great. Oh, nice play there by jjakji. Just as the Lings headbutt the Marines ignored them and picked off the Banelings there. That was nice. That was nice indeed. But the upgrade advantage is real here. Nice pickup of that Medivac here. But does jjakji have enough in numbers? He's got a decent upgrade advantage, but does he have the numbers right now? He's a little bit down in supply, down in army overall size.
What do you think about the overall supply being 67 walkers to 77 and 72 army supply for jjakji to 122? Does he need to wait until he maxes out to fight?
I mean, you'd
also
ideally... I mean, his advantage in this game is his upgrades, but he can't really push that advantage because he doesn't have a high enough army supply. I think if he goes now, he just gets sandwiched, so he has to wait.
With the early on aggression that True did, 15 minutes 30, he was already maxed out.
Yeah.
He's catching up on the 2-2
and now he's morphing 23 Banelings,
Oh my God.
only committing to 13 Mutualists, the rest Banelings here.
This
But there's
macro is
2 or 3
ridiculous.
tanks. This is actually not a very good idea. There's 14 tanks, 4 tanks, sorry, 5 tanks even. I'm not too sure if this is the right idea here for True. I don't know if he knows the
well,
tank
I mean, he's
count.
maxed out and he can remax quickly behind this with the lava.
I mean, he's going to be facing a counter-attack here. I mean, this is going to be so cost-effective.
Lava. I don't know. I think it's always right to attack when you are maxed out and you can remax very quickly. So he's going to go for it.
The Banelings go in and they don't get too much damage. They get into the SUV line, but I mean, this is a slaughter here. jjakji's just absolutely destroying this. There's 80 additional Lings on the way. Maybe if he can build up a decent enough Baneling count, he can go for it. He gets into the SCV line. That's actually the most important part of all of that. He destroys 17 SCVs here. And unfortunately there, for True, could have maybe done a little bit more damage as 2-2 now just completes, but...
He attacked just before 2-2 finished, by the way. So even though he was maxed out, maybe he could have waited for that, but then, you know, there's jjakji basically that's able to get maybe 10 to 20 more supply. If you wait 30 or 40 more seconds. So True went for it. He did some damage.
Yeah.
Behind this, he was able to make a lot of units, but now he spent most of his bank. And you know what? Those extra bases, like base number 4 and 5, they're coming in only now. That's very, very late considering the situation. So he committed to making a lot of units and going for a timing attack. In the end, you were right. Like there was a good hold by jjakji. And now True finds himself in a position where he's not where he would like to be at in terms of gas. Like he has absolutely 0 Banelings. He spent all of his gas on making some mutas here as well and some more upgrades. So he's morphing in 9 Banelings now, but he's out of gas. He's 9 Banelings enough to hold a jjakji who's soon gonna be 3-3, have +2 vehicle weapons as well, and who has a massive army.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting attack there from True. He's back to max out, and he is at 200 supply, but he only has Zerglings, and as many Zerglings as you have, with 3-3 almost upon us now, just 10 seconds, it's not going to work out too well for you. Marines will gut these Zerglings pretty fast here.
There is no hive in sight, and now jjakji has caught up in terms of army supply, only staying at 63 SCVs.
He
can actually get
fourth. It's you know, he's going to be able to continue to rebuild all the time here.
The army supply actually 100 to 117. This is getting closer and closer, and the more jjakji waits,
it's the 19 Banelings. Those are the things that are going to change this game. Without those, this is easy for jjakji. I feel with tanks in the way, he's going to be able to roll over this. But we are going to see a run around here from True. He's going to come to this third base, and that is bringing jjakji all the way home here with his 3-3 upgrades.
Oh, that PF. There's a lot of turrets and SCVs around it. Does he go and repair it? I'm not sure there's enough to kill it. If it's repaired
maybe
on time.
not. Maybe not. But if he gets to the SCVs, that's almost as good. And
know,
actually, with all these Banelings, he's going to try and blow this up here.
He's losing a lot of units, even if he blows this up. Okay, this time he's really exposed to a counterattack.
Yeah.
Because jjakji right now, in terms of army supply, is at 113 against just 60. He has doubled the army supply.
Yeah.
It's go time. I mean, even if there are a lot of Banelings made there, I don't think there's going to be enough to defend this wave of attack and possibly a comeback here for True against jjakji's massive army.
True is playing such an aggressive game here, overly aggressive to a certain degree, and now he's going to have to face this attack, which I'm not too sure he's going to hold here. Eventually, there was going to be an attack coming out from jjakji with 3-3 upgrades with good splits, and he avoids the Banelings. He should be able to pick this one up here. He's got tanks and Thors in support here. Banelings get caught to the top. Bora comes in 10 seconds. Maybe that could have been a plan for him to maybe take a good fight, but it is way too late in this game. The 4th base is exposed, the 3rd base is exposed, and jjakji holds on versus the relentless aggression from True here. And he's looking at a map 1 victory despite the opening, despite the way that True was kind of playing this game as his own and commanding the decisions on how this game should be played out. jjakji moves over here, takes a big supply lead in with killing the 4th, killing the 3rd, killing 32 drones, and even the 5th on top. There's absolutely no way that True gets back into this. A scan sees what's there. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's 3 Bailings on the right-hand side. 35 drones have been gutted. Tanks in beautiful position. And True is going to go for one final attack. He goes in. The Stim Marines move backwards. And the tanks clear out everything. And then the Marines with 3-3 upgrades are going to pop each one of these Mutalists in the head. And also the Bailings as well. 50 drones slaughtered in this attack. And the game is over. GG from jjakji. And a very, very nice game from him. Very solid, I think is the best way to describe that. But True, overly aggressive.
You know, jjakji, he didn't just beat True for the first time in a map in this tournament. He did it in fashion here. He said basically, well, you might have some very good macro. You might be able to max out at 15 minutes after you were aggressive early on. Yeah. When I'm only at 100, what was it, like 40 supply? It's not gonna matter. If you can't get in there and kill me, I'm a macro monster as well. And you know, that attack by True, just not able to do enough damage, especially the second attack. You know, blowing up the PF and losing so many units doing it, like, you're basically asking to get attacked by the Terran with his massive army. He didn't have the gas behind this to make a lot of Banelings to be able to hold. And really, it's that 4th and 5th base that were taken way too late. It all came down to the gas. Like, he had plenty of minerals, but he had no gas to remake the Baneling count that he needed.
You just can't attack him with such a high Baneling count into tanks like that. You're going to get a lot more damage done if there aren't tanks, but he went into that. I don't really think that he knew the tank count and decided to do this anyway. To be honest, if the tank count was low and the Marine count was higher, that attack's more than likely going to put him in the lead and maybe win the game there. But he just went straight for the slaughterhouse there, unfortunately. And, well, he finds himself in a bit of a tricky situation. jjakji's beaten him 2-0 before. He's leading currently 1-0. And jjakji now moves just 1 game away from the grand finals here to play up against MMA in the best of 5 to decide who will be the DreamHack Moscow champion. Well, we'll have to find out if True can make that comeback. I think he's got to put the brakes on a little bit, change a couple of gears, change this style and the approach that he's taken versus jjakji. Otherwise, I think we will see a 2-0.
What's happening here with the tanks? Like, that was pretty old school. Do you think it's jjakji's new style, or did he just react to the Banelings and then he was like, I'm making some tanks, it's going well, I'm going to keep on making them? Like, was he just reacting to True, or is it how he actually meant to play from the start, you think?
Sorry, could you say that one more time?
Did he plan to go into tanks from the start, or did he just react to the Banelings and then kept on making tanks? Because that looked pretty good, even though sometimes tanks look like a foolish attempt.
I think tanks are very good on this map. The way that you can push through the middle, you can have a lot of tanks on the high ground. A lot of the pathways that Zerg has to fight are very narrow, and Banelings all clump up together. And if you can get the right hits onto the Banelings, and especially the way that Zerg's play recently is much more Baneling heavy, like you said, more so than Mutalist heavy, then it works out quite well.
So what was the adjustment that True maybe could have done here? Play a lot more Mutalisk heavy with lesser Zerglings and Banelings on the ground and then just harass everywhere?
Yeah,
the Muta Cloud?
Yeah.
You think there is any chance you might do that in the next map?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I don't think we'll see tanks on this map, though. That's the thing. So I don't think it's hard. It's just much harder for him to adapt into it.
Okay.
Just for you guys who are still watching us right now, there are a couple of issues that we are having with our online streaming platform. But as soon as they are resolved, we will jump in to the next game. But for now, we can have a bit of a chit-chat here, Todd, and just continue on with this. So jjakji, 1 game away. If he wins this now, he's guaranteed a spot in the finals, obviously. He's guaranteed himself to attend BlizzCon, the global finals, at the end of the year here. He finds himself so deep within the global rankings that it's impossible for him to fall out. Is this a return of a former champion now in jjakji? If he's able to win this game, does he come back to former glory where he won that GSL tournament in November 2011? Are we going to see more wins, more high place finishing for the rest of the year, for next year?
I'm starting to feel good about this. He's looked good, not just in game. During the interviews, he's all smiles. He looks happy. He's enjoying himself. He's playing the game he loves. Yeah. And it really shows in those games. Here, he was in trouble early on. In the start, I was like, oh, God, this is just going to be like a 2-0, 5-minute, 5 minutes. But you know what? He fell behind. He hanged in there. He got some tanks out. He saw the Zergling Baneling attack coming. He held again. He held on. And then somehow, True makes those big attacks that just don't work. And jjakji reacts perfectly. I mean, even the split here at the end in terms of where he attacked, he didn't just A-move that one base and stim pack. He sent units everywhere because he knew there was going to be units coming in very, very slowly out of each base. So he left a pack of Marines at the bottom right, some on the left, to basically intercept everything that was coming out of those eggs. It's very hard for a Zerg that has all of his hatcheries in one control group to basically change the rally of each one to next to the hatch to defend against those Marines. So that was interesting in itself, and he showed a lot of good things in this game, I thought.
All right, well, let's hope he can show a lot of more good things in the next game once we get into it. But before we do that, we'll find out if jjakji will 2-0 or if True can come back in a couple of seconds' time. We're going to take a quick break to sort out a couple of issues on our side. But when we return, so does the semi-final number 2.
those nights when we were younger and we would never sleep. So let's forget about tomorrow and live for tonight while we're free. Touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive. Touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive. And our hands will touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive. From the dust we will awaken.
Hello and welcome back to DreamHack Moscow here, the second semi-final. We are very close to the grand finals right now, but we have one more game to go. Sorry about the little bit of technical difficulty there, but we are resolved, hopefully, and can continue on with the second semi-final. If you missed the end of that, we saw a hyper-aggressive True try to break down jjakji, but jjakji's solid defense was good enough to be able to hold on, launching a counter-attack eventually to be able to take map number 1 to his name. And we're almost ready for map number 2 now. Talk to us about a couple of differences we need to see from both of these players, or at least from True, should I say, since he's trailing 0-1.
Hyper-aggressive. I see you're measuring your words here. You know, even though I agree with the attack at the time and you didn't, in the end you were right, I would even go as far as saying overly aggressive. Because he didn't wait for 2-2 to finish, just got in there, and I don't know, it's the way the attack went, you know, and the tanks being able to target down the banelings, just too good of a hold from jjakji, and then from there the counter-attack was just good enough to kill a True who just got a 4th bait and a 5th base too late to have enough banelings.
So time to slow it down a little bit here, True, otherwise you could be facing a similar fate as map number 1. But let's find out how this is going to shape up. Map number 2 is ready, so let's jump immediately in to see which way this is going to go. Here on the left-hand side of our second map, Catalina, as the red Terran player playing for My Insanity, it's jjakji. And then, of course, we have to the top side of Catalina here is the blue Zerg player playing for Dead Pixels. Likewise from Korea, it is True, who stylistically, I think we can quite safely say made a couple of mistakes there, but mechanically looked very strong in that first game, was able to build a lot of units very easily, was able to macro up strongly, but his decisions may have got the better half of him. But as you can see right now, jjakji wants to go to the finals now. He's got a barracks in the middle of the map. He is going to 2 barracks. And Moonglade called it. He thought we would see this happen. And, excuse me, it's not a second barracks. There's no second SUV. It's a single barracks, and it is a gas. And it is going to be a Reaper, very early Reaper, to try to get a lot of damage. But look at this. He decided to spawn and pull first. And a gas, which makes no sense here. I mean, it's a very uncommon build to use here unless he's expecting some type of aggression like this. going to be aggressive himself. He's not slowing it down. He's actually going even harder in this one. And fortunately for him, this is actually going to work out wonderful.
I'm not sure who this is going to go well for, to be honest, because jjakji is walling off his ramp now. He's not playing with some kind of CC behind this, like super greedy.
Yeah.
As long as he's walled off, you know, he should be safe against some kind of speed play. Now, the Reapers, how many does he make and how much are they going to do, really?
Well,
especially since...
It's a second barracks here, which is incredibly uncommon here.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that the best way to play this, I'm sure it has to be Roaches here. Does he play Roaches? Does he try to, you know, maybe hold on until he gets Zergling speed and then goes for a full Zergling play?
Wait, True stopped mining gas before he had enough to make speed. He saw a racks. What? I guess he saw the racks of jjakji going up at the ramp very, very late. So he's like, there must be something in the middle of the map. He saw the one in the middle of the map now. He's like, he's playing really scared. For a second, he probably thought there is some kind of 2 racks in the middle of the map and maybe one at home going down. So he's like, I'm not going to need speed early on. I just need to make units. But now he realized what's going on. It's actually double racks Reaper. So he's going to go for the speed, but before that, he's going to start on taking some damage in the main.
Yeah, I don't think he read quite well into this fast enough here. And he's taking damage, but the Reaper squeezes out from the drones there. Citizens arrest anybody, not today. And the SUV gets picked off. A bit of gas has been mined, but double Reapers are going to continue to be made from these barracks. And right now, there isn't really an answer coming out from this. There's 2 Reapers just outside the main base. No gas has been mined again. He went back into gas upon seeing the second barrack, so clearly wanted to try to get something, but then has changed his mind again. He's gone back to mineral-only income.
Why would you stop at... Okay, no, you just got some more to start speed, but you know, speed being delayed as much as it was.
Yeah.
Reapers are gonna reign supreme on a map like Catalina, where they can leap into the main so easily and start taking down queens from being already 3.
He needs to survive another 90 seconds or so until Zergling speed is done and he can build up a high count. 10 Lings are on the way, but they're gonna get shut down so fast. 4 Reapers are gonna kill this, and jjakji, he goes for the queen, he picks the queen up here, and that's gonna really stunt the defense. It's gonna stunt the production. And well, jjakji's going to keep going for this. He needs to wear down that Zergling count, so when the speed is done, if he even gets that far, he can actually just pick up this game nice and easily. He's targeting down that other queen as well, and the Reapers aren't going to stop here. They aren't going to stop.
This must feel like the slowest Reaper speed he's ever gone for right now to get. This must feel like forever. Finally getting a surround on one of those Reapers, but I mean, behind this, we have a second CC on the way. We have a factory. jjakji's been making SCVs continuously. He's already up to 22 against only 16 drones. This is just so much damage he was able to deal. And on that map, it's such an interesting build. Like,
yeah,
if you think about it, like, it's so easy to go into the main with all the room that you have with the Reapers. Now he pulls back before speed finishes. Is he going to stay at home?
Todd, our predictions we are just perfect. You know, I got unlucky with Happy, but this one we called me and you, jjakji, and...
Well, you just followed what I said, though.
I did not. I did not. Zergling speed is done. Spines have finished, or a single spine has finished. Queen's been added on because they were sniped off, so he's so far behind here. And it's just going to get worse at this point. These Zerglings are practically useless at this point. There's going to be Hellions in the game, and we know that Hellions can just own these Zerglings so easily. As long as he's careful with his control, he's bunkered up at home in case it was a frantic counterattack, I suppose, that could come into play. But no, he's going to put a Reaper inside the main base, or at least attempt to. Try to get a bit more information, but that gets shut down very easily. Reaper does survive. But unfortunately for True, he's got a big comeback to make.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy how everything falls into place behind this here for jjakji. He didn't sit around in the middle of the map or fly around with his original racks. He flew it back home, made an add-on. Now he swapped that for the star post. He's going to be able to start making medivacs 2 at a time. Taking 2 medivacs so quickly against Link speed and a Zerg on low economy is just perfect in terms of decision making. He cannot die to Banelings and Zerglings on the ground. He's going to be able to start dropping everywhere. He gets the armory for Hellbats as well for a follow-up attack.
He's going for the win, Tony. He's going for the championship. He's going for the grand final here. And if he wins, he will be going up against Ace MMA. The Baneling Nest comes in, but maybe a little bit too late here. A third base was attempted to be taken by True, but as we can see, death is on the front door here. 4 Hellions attacking the Queen. Do survive. Armory's finished. Got to wait for that medivac to come over to start healing a couple of these units. But
he's waiting for a second one to be out. Zerglings could try and go for a surround here, but I don't think they would get it. jjakji's on point. He's just so impressive.
Yeah. This, I'm going to be so impressed if jjakji can actually hold this attack. This attack is going to be so deadly, so difficult to stop. Maybe if he can get the bailing connections into these units. If he can't, then this is going to end one way. He does not. He can build 4 bailings currently, and I think those 4 bailings will probably get killed before they even get close. Here they get morphed inside the main base, but right now jjakji's outside, and it is time to try to go to the grand finals.
True saw a starport in the main too. He's panicking. He's getting a spore in the main. He's completely falling apart. The guy who hadn't lost a single map so far is on the verge of elimination here against the jjakji who's on fire.
He's on fire, literally, at this moment. The units walk in and everything is getting burned up. Those 4 bailings get decent connections, but they aren't the connections that are going to save him in this tournament. jjakji moves forward, and the 2 bailings, nope, they don't get anything either. Queens have been chased down, drones have been chased down, despite, as you said, True going undefeated. It is jjakji from My Insanity who's going to go to a grand final for the first time in almost 3 years. November 2011 was the last time, and it has been a long time for him. The 3 Hellbats just reign over this. Lings are being made, but even more units are streaming across here for jjakji. It's a very, very sad series here for True. Hyper aggressive in both series, confused and lost in map number 2 on what really to do. But it is jjakji, the man with a plan, who looks at the grand final here. And even if he isn't able to kill his opponent right now, he has sustained such a lead where he can finish him off at any point throughout this game. Emergency bailings being morphed in, and True is not going to let go of this easily. They go in, but even with 2 clean detonations onto the Hellbats, it is not enough. Good game is called. jjakji goes to the grand finals. He will play versus MMA. Terran versus Terran. It's been a long time since we've seen one of those in the grand finals, but it will happen here. A best of 5 between jjakji and MMA is upon us.
Congratulations to our second grand finalist here at DreamHack Open Moscow. Now, jjakji, this feels like the 100th interview I'm doing with you at this tournament because you've been doing so well. But every time I interview you, you just seem so confident. Even in your play, when we watch your games, you just seem so solid every time. Especially when players reach this stage of a tournament where it's the semifinals, where every game really counts. A lot of times the nerves catch up to them, but it doesn't seem like it's affecting you at all. Are you just not nervous?
Nervous, but nervous also. I'm enjoy.
Now, we've already mentioned this before, but this is your first grand finals appearance since 2011. Why has it taken you 3 years to come back to the grand finals?
A long time, sleep maybe. Yeah.
All right, last but not least, because we want to get this grand finals underway as soon as we can, why should the fans cheer for you over MMA? 이제 사람들, 팬들이 왜 이제 짝지 선수를 더 응원해야 돼요? 문성훈 선수 위에?
I was a bit happy, so you guys can think jjakji is happy. So you are a hero.
Congratulations again to jjakji, our second grand finalist. Guys, stay tuned. We are going to get underway very, very soon with the grand finals between MMA and jjakji, so don't go anywhere.